Before we dive in, I want to give huge shout outs to community partners Epilepsy Foundation of America, the Danny Did Foundation, and Epilepsy Alliance America. And big thanks to sponsors Neurelis and SK Life Science. Thank you for believing in this podcast and to help keep it going. All right, y'all, pull up a seat. This is going to be good. Hey guys, welcome to What the F. I'm so stoked about today's guest because I don't know about y'all, but sometimes it feels like epilepsy and the workplace are hard to coexist together, manage, and figure out what the F to do. And who better to speak to that than someone living with epilepsy who's also the Senior Vice President of Human Resources. Guys, I want you to meet Chynise. Chynise, thank you so much for being here. I am so excited to talk about this with you because you, like me, were also diagnosed as an adult. It was like a little present, for adulthood.
A present.
Yeah, right? Like, oh, here you go. Is life hard? No? Okay, we'll give you something.
Mm-hmm.
So just kind of like, first talking about how your diagnosis came about, because sometimes that's so hard for a person, like an adult with epilepsy. And then like diving into how it affected your workplace and like even, you as someone who's like a lead in HR.
Sure. For me, in my mid-30s, I had a position in which I would teach a lot of workshops, I would train, I would travel, and I would work with a lot of different people. And I started blanking out. So I could be talking and then just stop and continue with the conversation. A few people mentioned it to me and would be like, "What's wrong?" And I'd be like, "What's wrong with you?" and they'd be like, "Well, you're just kinda." And I'm like, "But we're talking about such and such," and it was difficult for people to articulate.
Sure.
And my husband, he said something a couple times. He's like, "You're ignoring me," and I'm like thinking to myself, if I could ignore you, we probably argue less. Like, it's not that easy. Like, but it was.
You're like, if I was ignoring you, you would know.
Right,
Yeah.
And then I started being more aware. I remember I had a situation where I was teaching a workshop with an audience that did not know me. I was out of town, and I was using PowerPoint. I looked up, and I was at maybe like 10 more slides than I knew I should have not been at.
Oh, wow.
And the group was looking at me like, what's going on? And I am a jokester. So I knew something wasn't right, but I was like, guys, I was just trying to trick you to see if you're paying attention. And they're laughing, and internally I was freaking out.
Yeah.
So
what a quick thinking move, though. Can I just point that? Like, I've never had a moment like that during one of those blankouts where, like, I come up with something funny or, like, anything like that. That's really cool.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah.
And
I hope that's on your resume as well.
I should put it on there.
Yeah.
So I went to my doctor, and my general physician said, well, maybe that's absent seizures, but it's hard to say if we don't see it. So please let the people know around you to try to video it. I told my husband, and he actually videoed me. One day we were eating, and I just stopped talking, but I kept moving my fork. Oh. And he was just putting his hand in front of my face, and he videotaped it, and then I shared it with my doctor.
Wow.
So then my doctor sent me to a neurologist that focused on women and epilepsy, which I'm incredibly grateful for. It was difficult because, you're asked a million questions. Is it in your family? What happened? Blah, 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 blah. And then it turned into some questions that it was like, what? It was like, have you ever done drugs? And this could be a result of this. No, I haven't done drugs. That's not my reality. It was a lot of working through it on the medical side, but then also you still have to continue your life. So the places that I had these seizures are places that people spent the most time with me. At work, my home with my husband, I had a couple episodes on a train where I missed my stop.
Yeah. I've been there.
You know,
Yeah, I do know. I do know. I think the worst
yep.
was when I was on the subway platform. And that's always my scare. Like for me, that's my biggest fear is because like, what if you just walk onto the tracks or something,
For
you
sure.
know? Luckily I came to and I had sat myself down, you know, and I just came to with like all these shoes walking past me, like in the middle of February, you know, on the cold concrete. It was fun. It's fun. But yeah, when you miss a stop or something like that, it's just like, it's so disarming.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And it was difficult to explain to people. I'm not a person that has convulsions. I've probably had 2, maybe 3, but I had absent seizures where I will blank out for 30 seconds, maybe a couple minutes, and come back business as usual. So that was a lot to digest for people. It was a lot to digest for me.
That's what I wanted to ask you. Yeah, how did you handle that? Like in your, you know, mid 30s and all of a sudden it's like you're just slapped with an epilepsy diagnosis.
Well, I'm sure you experienced it. You go through stages, right?
Oh yeah.
So
sometimes I still go back to them.
And you do right, exactly.
Yeah.
So the first thing was it was scary because I'm looking at that video and I'm listening to the doctors talk. And I'm on this roller coaster of medicines, all of these different ones. To be a person that took no medicines and then I have this, you know, agenda and all these things is very different. I started being more aware and I saw people I feel like a look of pity sometimes, and I don't like that, and it made me very uncomfortable. Yeah. So you talk about that humor, then I felt like I had to ramp up. I'm fine, everything's great, blah, blah, blah. No, it really is not fine. I'm scared, you know. Yeah. I went through this thing I didn't tell anybody for a long time.
Oh, really?
Only like at work, because these are the people I'm around. My husband knew that was really about it.
So, like, when you say work, did you just tell, like, the people that you worked with, or did you file with HR, or was that weird because you're in HR? I don't, you know.
No, it's okay.
I don't know how corporate works.
It's okay.
You're going to have to talk to me like I'm 5.
No, it's okay. So, I worked in a more, I want to say progressive environment because it was a European company. So, wellness is very different. I remember, like, managers, and I'm so grateful, would be like, go home, it's fine, go, it's no problem. And I had some that would not be so, you know, accommodating or whatever. But what I did was there were some things I had to change. I used to travel a lot for work, and my doctor did not want me to travel because of the change in altitude, which is not safe, traveling quick trips.
Yeah.
And then also because she didn't want me to sleep alone. And that was very hard for me, but my employer made that accommodation for me to work in Chicago, which it was hard for me to transition. And what I did, which I think a lot of people don't think to do, is, you know, you have this roller coaster of let's try this med, let's try that med.
And I don't know about you, but for me, like, those medications can just like really make me feel out of it. And I can't even explain a lot of the symptoms sometimes when it comes to them, and like the amount and stuff at one point in my life. I don't know about you.
I agree. And every time something happens and you say something to the doctor, I feel like they add on another pill or they increase dosages. And I'm like, how can we decrease the dosage?
Yes.
You know, I'm taking all these different things, and I love crime shows, documentaries, all those things. You know, I always joke I have my master's in law and order. And so I was watching this documentary about Michael Jackson, and they were talking about his life and, of course, you know, his passing and his overdose, and going through all these details and showing that nightstand. And I'm looking like, I have the same pills on my nightstand.
Oh my God.
What? Is this why I have all these side effects? Right. And then I saw one with Prince, and it was the same
nightstand.
And I'm like thinking to myself, like, doctors, you trust me?
Yeah.
Like, you must really trust me. I have the same pills as Michael Jackson. I don't like that.
Yeah.
Give me his blazers, not the pills, you know? And I can laugh about it, but that's like, wow, you
Yeah,
know?
totally.
And every time I have a something, they're just giving me another pill.
Yeah.
So I really work with my doctor, like, we got to decrease these pills. And I'm sure, as you know, they can't just say, okay, tomorrow.
Oh, right.
Some pills,
Yeah.
some medicines, it was like an 18-month plan to get me off the medicine.
Yes.
And, you know, you have these side effects. There can be headaches for 3 days. There can be some things we don't want to talk about because they're gross, you know, and so. What?
Yes.
You know,
No, it's so
and
true.
you don't want to
Yeah.
leave the house. So
Right.
what I did was intermittent FMLA, so that,
Right.
and I'm not sure if you're familiar.
I am, but I would appreciate it if you could explain it just for me and other listeners
Sure.
who aren't sure of what
Sure.
it is. Yeah.
So intermittent FMLA is not where you're just straight off of work. It is because you have a medical condition and you need to be off perhaps for a doctor's appointment or for certain things, but it's an occurrence.
Okay.
So what I did was, when I was taking, you know, going through this journey of the medicine, you know, determining what's the best cocktail for me, I would take intermittent FMLA so that I could be at home, I could not worry about work, and I could focus on me.
That's
and-
huge.
And also I did have the ability to work from home when I could, because that journey of figuring out what meds work is difficult.
Oh
know.
my God. Yeah.
You know, there could be days where I would sleep 2 hours a day and things like that. And so that was what I managed that, I think, more so myself, because I knew what to do, you know.
Yeah.
Um,
So, okay, I'm just like amazed by this concept, like
Okay.
this intermittent FMLA. I guess
Okay.
I'm like, I'd never heard of it before.
It's
I just
okay.
realized now, yeah.
it's okay.
And I'm just like, so, because it just sounds like almost such a luxury rather than like taking a personal day for a doctor's appointment or taking a personal day because like you cannot get out of bed because like you said, like some of the side effects and adjusting to a medication. Like that's so amazing that there's this option.
Yeah, you know, FMLA is one of the best laws that was ever created, and I love it, and it's something that I've been training on since I became like really focused in human resources. And actually, I did a workshop with managers at my job, and I always say, people think HR makes the rules, right? And HR is really determined by culture and the law. And we follow a lot of laws, and when I talk about it sometimes, things people think it's HR said, Chynise said, and I always started by, there's this guy named William Clinton, and in 1992, he created FMLA. You know what I mean? And I go into detail, and and I'm like,
he uses his full name, William. Yeah,
I'm silly, and
awesome.
and I would have loved for him to talk to me about it, but he didn't. I was, in grammar school.
He didn't consult you.
This isn't my rule.
Yeah.
This is really a law. It's not a Chynise-ism, you know.
Right. Yeah.
But it's amazing. You have a lot of options to support your wellness and your health. So, I think that while, once again, I came from a European company that focuses a lot on wellness, it really resonated with me, and I took it with me wherever I've gone. So I really try to educate people on the resources, because people don't realize the resources that they have, whether it is with laws or that simply your employer pays for through the insurance company.
Yeah.
And even, or if it's, the accessibility and the flexibility that your manager or the company might offer you.
Totally. Totally. I mean, that's just so amazing to like try and look into. And is like HR, because again, this is me being ignorant, is HR the place to go if you're trying to figure that out?
For most companies, it is.
Yeah.
For most companies.
Okay.
Okay,
so when did you decide to start telling more people about your epilepsy because I came across an article about you
Yeah.
in the business journals
Mhm.
highlighting, women in business. And I was like, holy cow, this is this woman's amazing.
Oh,
Like,
thanks.
yeah. So I was like, but I think I don't know, I'm projecting here, but I think we all go through a period of time where we don't tell anyone,
Right. Exactly.
especially when you're diagnosed as an adult, you're
Mhm.
trying to navigate that out.
Yep.
But when did you start to realize it could be beneficial or was you were ready or?
I didn't tell anybody for about a year and a half.
Yeah.
My husband was just kind of like, I'm carrying this secret. I always joke that he cannot keep a secret. Well, he can't. I call him Cindy Brady. He tells everything. And he would be on me all the time. Like, you have these friends that you have good relationships with. You have family, like, you need to say something. Or what happens if something happens to you and you're with them? And I was just like, okay. And I was talking to my doctor about it. And then she said, you need to say something. Because what if something happens to you? And the reality is that this is a illness that has more deaths than DUIs or breast cancer, but the least amount of education, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm.
So if something happens to you, which it can, and
Right.
it was like, thank you, I don't want to hear that.
Yeah.
You need to tell people.
I know. Yeah. Totally.
So
it is so
yeah.
it is so interesting, especially you said earlier when you're trying to explain your seizures aren't convulsive.
Yep.
That's what everyone assumes a seizure looks like. Not
Right.
everyone, but society as a whole, right?
Right.
And I think like it's and I'm going to get this stat wrong, but it's something like people with epilepsy, 70 to 80% have non-convulsive seizures.
Yeah.
And it's like that's a big chunk.
Right.
That's a lot of
Right.
epilepsy
Right.
that the general public does not understand.
Right, exactly. Yeah. And I had to do it, like have the conversations my way and just figure it out. One of the things is that I'm not always the most expressive person verbally. I'm that person that will show up anytime. But I won't necessarily be like, you mean the world to me.
Sure. Yeah.
And it made me like really think about, I think more so relationships. So why wasn't I saying anything? But also like, this is a person I trust.
Yeah.
Or this isn't a person I trust. Or what is happening? So I started kind of having these, I like to say, fireside chats.
I love it. I'm
Okay.
in. Yeah.
And so some of it was like, I thought about a lot of my friends and I was, really saying like, you mean the world, not you mean the world to me, but whatever, you're important to me.
Yeah.
And
you're like something less corny than that.
yeah, right, exactly. And I remember one of my friends, we grew up together since like kindergarten, and he low-key like cursed me out and was like, how dare you not tell me this?
Oh.
What is going on? Tell me everything.
Yeah.
And and it felt good, right?
Yeah.
I had another
Wait. I want to pause. Why did that feel good to have him curse you out?
Because it was like, I didn't expect that, and I was so nervous saying it because it was like, I'm going through this, but this is what it made me realize I'm not expressing myself. And you're really important to me.
Yeah.
And then it was like, if I'm so important to you, why aren't you telling me these things?
And I think in that moment, it's like maybe you're learning just how important you are to this other person.
Yeah.
Because when I've had people chastise me and be like, why the fuck didn't you tell me this earlier?
Yep.
And then I feel guilty or I feel bad.
Yep.
But it sounds like this particular friend, so awesome that that made you be like, oh my God, you value me the same way I value you.
Right.
That's very cool.
And I had some conversations that were like with friends and family that were like, okay, so what happens if something, what do I see? What should I do? Which was okay. And some conversations didn't go well. Some were, because it was, I'm going through this. It is very tough. I realize what honestly my mortality looks like in my relationships. and this is how you make me feel.
Mm-hmm.
And then it wasn't always good conversations.
Mm-hmm.
And some people were like, you got to get over it. I don't want to talk about it. You know, there's a perception in society like you keep moving, you know, and I'm not trying to minimize anybody, but I feel like there is a more, I want to say aggressive perception that you keep moving when you are a Black woman, you know, or a woman, period, like woman power and blah, 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 blah.
Right.
And it's like, regardless, it's tough.
Yeah.
You know?
Absolutely.
So
there is, and I feel like I experienced that as well, and still experience it because, you know, it's like, this is my work. And people are like, why the hell is she making a big deal out of, you know, her epilepsy? She doesn't even have convulsive seizures. She doesn't even, you know, she looks fine. And it's like, well, a lot of people look fine.
Exactly.
Everyone's carrying something.
Exactly.
You know? So it is very strange too. And I think that kind of goes back to the lack of public awareness about epilepsy in general.
Right.
Yeah. And that people are just like, okay, continue.
Keep it moving. So it was difficult because some people that I expected to support me did not. And that's just honest. But then it's like, I know where you belong in my life.
Yes.
I know where you belong.
Totally.
You know?
Oh, I do know, because all of a sudden it's like categories pop up.
Yep.
You know, and it's like you have the people I can call that will drop everything and come over immediately. You know, people that I can update on this, you know, and other fun stuff too.
Yep.
And then it's like people I can only keep surface level things.
Right.
You know?
Exactly.
Kind of all of a sudden, for me anyway, it felt like everyone just became categorized.
Right. Same.
And that wasn't a bad thing.
Right.
That just makes actually like then those relationships in those categories more robust.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. Totally.
Exactly. So
not that it's not heartbreaking when someone bumps you out like that. Like,
right. But exactly. But you know, when you couple that on the med, you know, the med cocktail, you know, whatever.
I love how doctors for eons have been calling it a cocktail.
I don't even know what to call it, you know.
No, but that's the neurologists say. They're like, we got to find the right cocktail for you.
Exactly,
And I was
exactly.
Like, this is not my type of cocktail.
Exactly. You know, my cocktails are in a glass, you know.
Yeah, but when you're going through that, I mean, I look back at like the early days for me anyway, and I'm like, I was living alone. I was single, and I don't know how I survived that, you know, because I had a really hard time reaching out to people for help. Luckily, I had my cousin who she would just come over to hang out, like, and because we're friends,
right?
But I legitimately thought like she was just coming to hang out, but she was really coming to check in on me, you know, which like it brings me to tears when I think about it now. Like I thought I was like, oh yeah, this is just what we do. We hang out on Wednesdays during the day, you know, like, and she would like put off her work to like take care of me, which is just something that, I don't know, I'll always be grateful for and indebted to her for, and she'll probably tell her that. So after, you know, going through all these categories of, you know, people in our lives and everything, what does your support system look like now?
I would say, you know, I have my friends that I can call and say, I feel like crap. You know, of course you have those girlfriends that you've been friends with for a long time, and I can talk about those gross things and whatever, you know. And then I would say some caretaker aunts that don't say, what's going on? How's this? Da, da, da. But they might say, are you okay? You know, how's the meds? Because they know.
Sure.
And I'm okay with that, you know. I think, and of course my husband, I'm very grateful to him. I probably don't say enough, but I am grateful because he comes from a good place, you know. I had to tell him like calm down, because I could literally call him and be like, hey, and he'll be like, what's going on? How you feel? Are you okay?
Oh my God.
And
yes.
I'm like,
Steve does that too.
You know, and I'm like, hey, I'm just calling to say hi. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just calling to ask what's for dinner. Like, you know what I mean? And I was like, please stop saying that. Like, I promise you, I will tell you if something is wrong, you know.
Yeah.
So I have those people that are
Mhm.
in different, boxes, and
Sure.
that's okay
Yeah.
because I don't want people to pity me. I don't
Mhm.
want to be babied. I
Mhm.
just want to know that if I call, then you'll be there because if
Yeah.
you call, I'll be there.
Totally.
So I'm
Totally.
okay with that, and I'm
Yeah.
grateful that I do have those people, and I know who they are.
Mhm. I mean,
You
that's
know.
like such a big thing when you know
Mhm.
who those people are.
Yep.
I think that's so huge.
Yep. And one of the things, we've talked about like the medicines and the journey and how you feel afterwards because afterwards you can feel exhausted and things like
Mhm.
that. One thing that has been difficult for me is that I feel like during the time where I started having the seizures and I was not diagnosed, and then the transition and blah, 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 it's like some memories are just gone, and some things in my past, I just don't remember the details.
Yeah.
I can
Mhm.
like sometimes look at a picture of myself and I'm like, it's like somebody like photoshopped me in the picture. So I have people that I can ask questions about it. Like, what happened here and what happened there and things like that. And then not like freaking out.
Yes.
You know,
Totally.
I had some, a situation, and sorry, John, that's my husband. I'm gonna keep talking about him. Where there was a party, and I actually planned the party,
Okay.
and I don't remember it. And it was at one point he's like, "Remember this and remember this?" No. Well, look at this picture. No. What about the video? No. And then it started making me feel bad,
Yeah.
and I was like, "Okay, I need you to stop talking to me about this party."
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
know.
totally.
And
Totally.
so sometimes, you become accommodating to other people's feelings.
Mhm.
So somebody will say something about something and just like, yeah, you know,
Yep.
because it's easier,
Yep. Totally.
you
Totally.
know.
And I think that's a large part of the epilepsy game
Right.
because it's a game.
Yeah.
I don't know. But like is accommodating and trying to figure out how that person will react, how
Yep.
honest you can be,
Yep.
how much you can joke about it, how much you need to make them comfortable. Like when I
Mm-hmm.
have like quick few second seizures,
Mm-hmm.
I've had them during recordings,
Mm-hmm.
and afterwards I tell the guest, I'm like, I'm really sorry, I had an absence seizure, and they're like, oh, I thought I was just really boring.
Hmm.
I'm
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
luckily, who's ever a guest here understands,
Right.
right? But when you're in normal conversation and you tell someone, you're like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I just had a quick seizure. What
Mm-hmm.
were you saying?" They're like, "What the fuck?"
Mm-hmm.
And people freak out
Mm-hmm.
sometimes. And then there's
Mm-hmm.
the people who are just like, "Oh, here's what you missed,"
Mm-hmm.
kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And
See, I'm
yeah.
not where you are right now because I don't have them as frequent as you, but I
Mhm.
don't say that.
Mm.
I don't.
What do you say?
Nothing.
Yeah.
Honestly,
Just let it roll.
let it roll.
Yeah.
I am chatty, but I listen more and I watch more than I talk, I think.
Mhm.
So I've learned, like I said, being, I think, resilient and joking a lot. And I'm going to accredit it to being in human resources is that I'm like watching people. And
Sure.
I think the epilepsy has like made my senses a little bit more elevated.
Mhm.
So whereas you'll say, sorry, I had a seizure or this is what happened, I will probably turn the conversation back to you,
Mhm.
just because I'm not there yet. Like I told you,
Yeah.
if you would have called me a year ago, I would have said no thanks. It's a journey,
Yeah, it really is. And the thing is too is like there's nothing wrong or right about where anyone's at.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like I kind of admire that you're able to just like turn and ask a question. Like you can think really fast after those and I cannot. That I mean because I would love to just keep going, and not even just be like sorry, I had a seizure, just be like, "Oh, what do you want for lunch?" or whatever. Just like it's a nice way to gloss over it.
It's
Um,
not, but
okay,
thanks.
you're like, no. No,
It's really
doesn't feel
not.
good. Thanks for trying, but no. But I remember too when I would look at, people and be like, "Oh, I'm not where you're at." Like back in the day, I think the only resource I used was hashtag epilepsy on Twitter when it
Okay.
was Twitter.
Mhm.
And I would just go and just see what other people were saying, strangers and stuff.
Mhm.
And there was one like epilepsy advocate on
Mhm.
there, and he's like, "Oh, you should share your story." I was like, "Oh, no, 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 no.
Mhm.
I'm not as brave as you are. I can't do it."
Right.
And it felt like this like piece of just needing to keep
Right.
it in, not make a big deal,
Right.
keep moving, don't
Right.
ruffle any feathers,
Right.
kind of, yeah,
Mhm.
totally. So
Yep.
it's just like, which is so weird. And it's all because it makes other people uncomfortable.
Right. And I had to learn what are my triggers,
Mm.
my triggers, because it wasn't, my epilepsy wasn't a result of something else where they can
Mhm.
say, hey, this happened and whatever. But it took me a while to learn what my triggers were, just, I think, great medical care and telling me what to watch.
Mhm.
And like we discussed earlier, it is sleep deprivation, it is stress,
Mhm.
it can be the change in altitude.
Yeah.
When we have these fast changes in weather, like right now, 90 degrees,
Oh my God. Yeah.
just that
It's been
heat.
brutal.
Right,
Yeah.
So though I've had to learn that, and it's a journey to
Mhm.
figure that out, and then how to navigate around people or situations. And so for me, I've had to really kind of change some things in my life and really decide like where I'm going to remove myself,
Mm.
because it isn't the best, even if I want to. Like this weather, I'm not always so keen to be outside so much.
Yep.
I was outside and just having a good time maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago, and I was out the whole weekend, and I swear I suffered the whole week.
Mm.
Just exhausted
Yep.
and drained, and just it was brutal.
Yeah.
But I know what it was, I know what it was. And
Mhm.
even some stressful situations where, you like maybe it's anxiety.
Mhm.
And I'm just like, I'm not going, you
Yeah,
know?
totally.
And
Which doesn't, I mean, and sometimes it feels good, sometimes it doesn't. You know,
yeah.
for me, it's like it's too late. It starts at 8:30. Like,
Or it's the people,
yeah.
or, the energy. And it's like,
Oh, tell me more about that. What do you
just,
mean?
I'm going to say, maybe you're around certain people,
Mm-hmm.
maybe you're invited to something by a person that you like, and their group is not for you,
Sure.
you know?
Totally.
Or maybe it's for me, just busyness, but
Mm-hmm.
I'm already, headlong work day. Whether it is a good situation, like I have to say, or maybe I want to go to the concert, but it's just not gonna work.
Right. Totally.
It's stress. It's good stress, but it's stress on my body.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's no recovery time.
Yeah. And it's just like a guessing game too.
Right.
It would be nice if we could be like, oh, that will cause a seizure and that will not, but we
Right.
can't really like, it's just, we're like, I think this is not good
Right.
energy. It does sound like, and I'm not trying to like completely silver line your
No, you're okay.
epilepsy here, but it
You're okay.
does sound like it's given you more definitive boundaries around who and what is good for you.
It has. Um, you know, the the journey, the epilepsy game, like you said,
Mm-hmm.
it's tough and it's scary. But I will say that I'm grateful,
Mm.
because it has taught me to work with those boundaries that you speak of and really set them, because I really did do that. I'm sassy, I got a smart mouth, but I'm still going to show up. And there's a song that I love, and it's like, I bow out. And I'm like, I bow out,
Mm-hmm.
you know. So but it forced me to do it, like for my peace, but for my health,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah, and it's something that like almost, I mean, when we think about it, like everyone should be kind of doing it, right? Like
Right.
honoring their own boundaries or their
Mhm.
own, yes or no things.
Mhm.
And but with epilepsy, we have more immediate consequences,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Like there's long-term consequences to not honoring those things in
Right.
yourself, but ours are just immediate. And so
Right.
I think that's why so many people with epilepsy like have like kind of have a more, well, I can't say that, but just like I think there's just a more balanced living that we kind of like have to adhere to. Otherwise, we suffer pretty significant consequences
Mm-hmm.
like right away.
Yeah.
It's not like 10 years down the road you're going to get
Right.
like heart disease. It's like, no, tomorrow you will have a seizure and be done, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So have you seen epilepsy like affect your work in HR?
I would say for me, it's made me focus on wellness more.
Mm-hmm.
So, I previously would use the tools, right, that's given to me. Okay, once again, I know employment law, FMLA, William Clinton, I love you.
Yeah.
Yes, I know that most employers have employee assistance programs or this and that. However, it made me dig a little deeper.
Mm-hmm.
So even right now where I work, I met with insurance brokers and I'm like, what is in this contract? What is everything that you offer to us, perhaps that we are paying for and not using, or we can use that will be helpful for my demographic, and really pushing the wellness and educating my HR team as well as other managers around me about what the options are, showing the information, and probably get on their nerves a little bit. honestly, and so I can say that I really try to focus on, I want to be accessible. I want to provide the tools. I do have to take a step back and not, I want to say, be too empathetic, because I am a leader and I have, policies to follow and laws and such, and really kind of stay in my place, but my place is to provide the resources and provide the tools and to educate and really, learn, like I said, what is it that our insurance broker offers.
So it's like you kind of do like the deep dive is what I'm interpreting it as.
Yep.
Yeah.
But, insurance, like brokers, when, I don't want to get too deep, but when insurance brokers are offering packages to employers, there's a lot of things that come with it that sometimes people just aren't informed about.
Sure.
So it's, what is it that we're not using? What, give me the tools.
Yeah.
Is it a class that my team can take? Is it just materials that I can share with the staff? What is it? For me, I love that I have the ability to build a relationship with these external partners and dig a little bit more. So I came into an environment that was, I want to say, legacy. The company's been in place for over 100 years. And I really am working with my benefits manager and the insurance broker, and it's like, I want to go through everything. What does my team need? When I say team, I mean the company. What can we offer? What's competitive? All these different things, so that we can offer the best and be competitive in the market.
Sure.
And
I love that.
It's okay.
It's just like, it's so like the duality of it, where in a good way, where it's like good for the employees, but also good for our company to attract good employees.
Right.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Totally. You've got like that business mind that I don't have, and you're like, yeah, that's awesome.
So, it's like really being able to dig in, and I'm grateful that I have the opportunity to do so, compared to just something being handed to me and I just have to work with it.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
That's awesome. God, so many people are listening and like, why aren't you at our company?
Okay. When they hear my sassy mouth, they might send me back.
Oh my God. Well, Chynise, thank you so much for being here and talking with me. I'm so appreciative of you, just taking your time, sharing, and just sharing your story. But before we end, I'm going to ask you 3 questions that have nothing to do with what we've been talking about.
Sure.
Okay. First one's easy.
Okay.
Number 1, what's your favorite color?
Okay. Can I tell you a story about my favorite colors?
I would love a story. Yes.
So I wear a lot of black.
Okay.
And animal print.
Which we've got both on today with the shoes and the top.
Yes.
I love it. Okay. Yes.
But I would say like my energy colors are green, like
just
Kelly
like
green.
Those glasses. Well, okay, your glasses are green, but they're not Kelly green. But okay, sorry.
It's okay.
I got too excited. Energy colors: Kelly green
and blue.
Nice. What type of blue?
Probably all of them.
Okay, I love it. Yeah. So like very water focused colors
with some metallics thrown in.
Natural. Yeah. Well, yeah, you gotta have that.
Yeah.
At least in my world.
Okay.
So,
okay.
I love it. That's an awesome answer. Number 2, if like time, money, altitude were nothing and didn't matter, where would you want to go like and live in a place for 1 month?
Huh. I love travel.
Yeah.
I love travel. So I think I'd be open to a place that is walkable because there's no driving for me.
Yeah.
That you can speak English.
Okay. Yes.
And is diverse.
Oh.
So send me wherever that meets those parameters.
Okay. I don't know offhand.
I can think of like 30 cities probably, but
yeah,
those are my requirements.
Okay. Yeah. I know that that easily walkable thing does get
So Toronto, Amsterdam, London.
Yeah.
I'm available.
Lisbon. We've got places.
I'm available.
You're available? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, if this deal comes through, I'll let you know.
Okay. Got it.
And then number 3, what does it mean to you to be a friend?
A friend to me is someone that you can trust. And I want my friends to trust me, to know that I will be there when you need me. And I want you to be there. And being accessible, not dropping everything you're doing because I call or vice versa, but knowing that you will pick up the phone, you will respond. We can have real conversations. We can do things together. So that, to me, that's like what a friend is, you know?
Totally. Yeah. It's just like a very holistic view.
Right.
Yeah. Of a person.
Right. And with the friends, one of the things that really made me like just have more of a, I want to say expectation about friendship or relationships was COVID. So I went from, having my friends and going here and doing that.
Yeah.
And then sometimes even being like, oh, I don't really feel like it. I'm going to cancel. And then COVID, it was nothing. You could not see anyone. It was we were seriously on lockdown. So now with someone, they ask me to go somewhere, I'm going to go. Yeah. I might not feel like it for the most part, but I will, or something I'm not necessarily interested in. I always joke and say like, you want to go to the Carrot Festival? That's fine. We can go. You know what I mean? Like, I want to be that friend.
I love you that much.
Okay. Because you have these special people.
Totally.
And we went through this time of like 3 years where there was nothing. I had like 3 or 4 friends that had these like COVID babies, and I didn't meet them until they were like 3.
Yeah.
Totally. So COVID really made me realize the importance of friendship.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate you. And I appreciate all you're doing for the HR world. And I hope everyone takes note.
I appreciate that. I'm trying.
You're doing more than trying. You're doing it, and it's awesome. So thank you.
I'm trying. Thank you.
Yeah.